Okay, we're moving.
Good afternoon, guys.
Hello.
Welcome on the Lucky. This is our boat for the upcoming hour. And well, let's start off. I think we're all pretty lucky because high season is coming to an end in this city. It's been so busy here all summer. We have had full boats every day, every hour.
Guys, I'm Mirna. I'll be your host and your best friend for this hour because I'll be serving your drinks, of course. So I'm also born and raised here. In my opinion, Amsterdam is the best city in the world. If you don't share the same opinion, just remember whose boat you're on. Okay? And throughout the tour, if you have any questions about anything you see, anything we say, please do not hesitate to just ask, okay?
Okay. Can I order?
Yes, I'm coming. After you, sir.
Not yet.
You're good.
So I guess
So traffic is little. It's a pain there, you know. So it's a problem. It became a problem. So when we are here, it's paradise, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit, I guess, on what you would call Amsterdam, but in the city, 900,000. Around that, around Amsterdam, there's quite some big.
city, so never neighborhoods connected as well like here.
Yeah.
Or city. You have to move with cars. It's a really problem for the traffic.
Okay. And how many?
So like beach.
Yeah.
So there are nice place to go there.
Yeah.
So not our northwest, it's the warm water. All the year you have temperatures around 30, 35 degrees. In the winter, probably you have 25, 27. So
That's awesome.
that's right. So it's a nice place to live.
So
Yeah.
there's space to also rest a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't.
Like there's a lot of people, it's very busy, but there's also places like the beach where you can just
Like I'm saying, yeah, you have some about internet, about streaming, and as well. So almost 100,000 people went to the event.
Where was it?
RAI convention.
Oh right.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
In the south. Convention thing. I get it.
Yeah, so it was a great event, by the way.
So you work in that area, like broadcasting?
Yeah, I work for internet, for digital marketing since the beginning of about broadcasting, and so everything the TV is being transformed. So they are discussing things like that. Interesting.
Now we have some days off?
Yeah, same. Yeah, we are having a great time here. By the way.
So yeah, I think a lot of other European capitals, and why is that? Well, this remained a small fisherman's village for a really long time. The first documents here are around 1200. Before it had the name Amsterdam. Where did the name Amsterdam came from? Well, the Dutch, they are not very creative. It came from the Amstel River, and the dam that was built on it. So, not very creative back in the days. International traders. And for instance, New York was called New Amsterdam before we traded it with the British for the whole country of Suriname. So it used to be called New Amsterdam. Growing, we only started growing here in Amsterdam in the late 50s. Why? Because the Spanish, when they came back from the south, and back then, they were Catholic, and the people here, they were Protestant.
Okay.
So, well, if there is conflict over religion, it turns into war most of the times. Dutch, they came into the 80-year-long war. And the end result of the war was that Spain took Belgium and we stayed as the Netherlands. And well, we could stay Protestant, but Antwerp fled up north, 40,000 people to be exact. And nowadays this might not sound like a big number, but considering that Amsterdam only had 20,000 inhabitants in 1580, this was a very rapid, a lot of work at hand in the city. So much actually that we did not have enough workers here in Amsterdam. So the Dutch desperately needed to find a way to get workers to the city from all over Europe. And they did this by tolerating different religions. Because in those days there were a lot of Jewish people from Portugal. And that's why actually Amsterdam, up until the Second World War, had the second biggest Jewish community in the city in the world. And well, this religious tolerance basically determined a lot of workers in the city. There were a lot of merchants. In 1602, one very important company was founded here. The Dutch East India Company. Have you ever heard of the company maybe? The Dutch East India Company, no?
No.
Actually, the Dutch East India Company is quite known around the world because it's by far the biggest company to ever exist. Actually, but Amazon does not come close to the size of the Dutch East India Company in the 1650s. Even if you keep inflation in mind. A huge company, they were mostly into spice trade, but yeah, I'm saying spice trade, and the Dutch call 16 till 1700 their golden age, but is it really that golden? Is it really trade? So I want to make you guys an offer. Imagine you are Indonesian farmers, okay? You are an Indonesian farmer, and I ask you, please, can we do trading? I want to have all your spices for free. What are you gonna stealing? The Dutch got very rich over the backs of other countries. But the things is that very clear. And there's a very dark side to the wealth in this city as well. So the Dutch were the biggest slave traders together with the Spanish and the Portuguese. There's a lot of, because it was such a big company, they had a huge influence on the city. Almost everything that we see around us is built once with money that was made of spice trade. And here we have some famous houseboats. And people have actually nicknamed this area as houseboat alley because there are so many different types of houseboats here. Architect. And people joke around that it's the Kim Kardashian houseboat because of the shape, but actually he was inspired by the belly of his pregnant wife. That was the inspiration for the shape of the boat. And that's of course a really beautiful design. This is a more modern way of living on the water. These we call shoe boxes, and these are actually not floating on steel. These are floating on a layer of concrete. Concrete under the waterline. Needs to go for maintenance way less than steel. These boats, every 6 to 7 years, they have to take them to the harbor, get them out of the water, thicken the steel that's under the waterline, so it's quite a costly way of living. So this is a more modern way of living on the water.
Do they pay for parking or what?
Yeah, so good question. Do you think it's cheap or expensive?
It's probably cheaper than renting like a apartment.
Okay. Well, actually, if you could say for a certain amount of meters, so it started out as something for the poor people back in the days after the Second World War, when there was a big housing shortage in this country. The Dutch government said, all right, you can live tax-free in Amsterdam if you bring your boat and you drop it to the sides of the canals. You take off pressure from housing prices. Well, I don't know if you've got any Dutch friends. You've probably met some Dutch people by now. I'm saying sorry in advance, but when we hear the word free, something clicks. Which, you can imagine the smell here after a while. At one point, the city was called the pretty lady with the bad breath because the stench was unbearable. And Well, the government really needed to regulate it, so they gave away 2,500 permits, around that number. The number is still around 2,500. Well, basic economics. If there's a limit on something, but the demands keep rising, the price goes up. So these people that bought that permit very cheap from the government, they have been laughed at all of their lives because the stereotype was the poor people. But now, one by one, these original inhabitants are selling their prices over here. Actually, have sold it for 600,000 euros. And for our whole life, we've been laughed at, and now she's left. But now you can see they're actually connected to sewage, running water, electricity. So now it's not like a normal house.
It's incredible. How they solved the problem with the trash,
Yeah.
probably in the water, because you said the smell is not.
No, so the connections to the sewage system has made a lot of influence. That's one thing. So all these boats nowadays, luckily, are connected to sewage. But you can imagine it's a city. There's trash everywhere. It keeps getting into the water. Actually, it's a coincidence. I think after the bridge in front of us, we can see actually a trash boat.
Cool.
This one picks up trash. I hope it's not going into the canal. I think we can see it still. A second. So it's in front of us right there.
Okay.
And then it has a big claw on it. And it takes out trash. And we just saw it last hour. There were no boats. There's a group of guys. They are on this boat every day of the year. And they have this huge like scoop. They scoop out plastic. But also they have this claw and they fish on bikes. So every day of the year they're cleaning the water. But also the Amsterdam River. They try to clean the city with the lake water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the reason
So
for-
they solved the problem.
Yeah.
By the way.
This is actually really clean.
Cool.
It might look green or
I saw a person not swimming here, but and and here is they are located near from the canal,
yeah.
and we saw a person, a lady,
Yeah.
swimming on the river.
Yeah.
By the way, it's around 8:30. It was
Yeah.
really cold, but cool.
It's
So,
fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's a bit cold, but it's clean enough.
cool.
Actually, a few weeks ago, what was it? The 8th of September, we had a huge swimming contest there, and
Cool.
our queen, she also joined in. So if our queen is allowed to swim here, I think everybody.
I believe in that.
Ja, nu komt de zon weer mee.
You have to pay or rent a place to park your boat. By the way.
So if you have the permit, yeah, then it's yours.
Okay.
But some people, they have the permit, they have the boat, they rent it out.
Yeah.
There's also places on Airbnb, so
Kijk, dit vind ik wel lekker.
Eu não queria mais casar bar. Mergulhou.
Keier nog gaat.
Mergulhou mesmo, cara.
Ook nu?
we gaan echt deze zomer uit het water aan om de pigs maar te kijken. Kijk, hoe laat zijn wij vertrokken?
40. Jij bent een kapitein, jij bent...
Ik heb nog nooit raad.
Ja, maar ik moet heel eerlijk zeggen, ik vind trouwvraag vind ik ook echt een beetje saai te vertellen. Ja, als jij dat wil vertellen, dan vind ik het leuk.
1 used to be well, actually you might have seen the name Mokum someplace. Mokum basically means, it's a different word for Amsterdam, but Mokum in the language that most of the Jewish people speak, Mokum means safe place. Because Amsterdam used to be the safest place for Jewish people to live in the northern Europe. So Mokum, safe place. And they all lived right here. You see some of the synagogue right there. And this is one of the last things that remains from the Jewish neighborhood. It's the market, the Waterloo Square Market. If you want to go, well, if you like vintage shopping maybe, this is a good place to go.
Our bikes fished out of the canals. So
Oh, wow.
these are the bikes, yeah, that you see when they fish match. We were not joking about it. It's like a real big bike.
By the way, now we're in the Raamgracht, which personally is my favorite canal. Actually, because it's so quiet. Normally we don't have time to go through this, but now we have a little bit of an extra area. So normally we don't have the time for this. I just want to point you out, right now we're going through a very famous painting of Claude Monet. Claude Monet, the famous French painter.
Sure.
He made a painting from the other side of this canal. We will be on that side in a few minutes, then we can see it. What he painted from over there is the Southern Church. And the Southern Church is right behind these buildings. You probably see it now. We will be where Claude Monet was in a few minutes.
Hey guys, does anyone want to refill?
I want a Heineken. Ja.
Ja, volgens mij, iemand zei tegen mij dat er iets voor 57 euro staan. Dat is alle bepaalde strak.
Zal ik hem zo ook nemen? crazy. So, let me tell you in a second why they are so crooked. But first, let me show you the painting that Claude Monet has pictured. If you look over here to the left side, you can see the view of the Southern Church where we just were. Yeah, it's beautiful. Claude Monet, he lived here in this yellow building, and then he made this picture over here. He made the painting. And let me tell you why these houses are so crooked. So back in the days, Amsterdam was built on soil. We are very old. We are built on top of water. So we would use wooden poles to get our houses into the ground. And with the wood and the oxygen and the water, these wooden poles would rot. And that's the reason why they're so crooked like that. So right now we can live in them very safely because we secure them with concrete poles, but it's not possible to get them back straight up again because otherwise they'll fall apart. And I'll say, of course, they are. So you can fix it, but it's really expensive. So a lot of people get very creative. They have to hang everything crooked. Their TV has to be crooked. Their paintings have to be crooked. Their picture frames have to be crooked. A lot of people also get very creative to just saw a little bit of their table off or of their... I feel like a replay. I think forever is a bit too long for you for love, then that's okay. Then we also have this bridge over here. And a smaller bridge means a smaller commitment. So we like to call this bridge the Tinder bridge. And we like to say that if you kiss your lover underneath this bridge, your love will last for a weekend. And if you still think a weekend is a little bit too long for you for love, we have a very nice area. It's called the Red Light District. And you can play for 20 minutes of love. Okay guys, right now we are entering the Herengracht. Can you try to pronounce that? Beautiful. How's music in my ears? Yeah, you really need that blender noise. That's what makes our language so beautiful. So if we translate Herengracht into English, it will be the Gentleman's Canal. Because back in the days, this was the canal where the rich gentlemen would live. You can see that because all these houses over here are very big, very wide. They have a lot of windows, and that has a reason. So back in the days, you had to pay taxes on the width of your house. The width of your house. So a lot of people would avoid those taxes to make their houses very narrow, and this is the canal where the rich gentlemen could pay these taxes and also show off with it. So for example, you also see a lot of windows over here, and that was also being taxed on. Every little window has to be taxed on, so it was a show off. You can also see they have stairs in the front. Those stairs were for two reasons. First, if there was a flooding outside, the people inside would be dry. And the second reason was to log stone. And that has a reason. So here in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, we have a saying. It's called stone rich, steenrijk. And that's because Amsterdam is as flat as a pancake. So we do not to make your house from stone. You have to import it from Italy or from France. Can you point it out for me?
Right there?
Everyone is pointing at the one with the flag, but it's actually a trick question because this whole street is a lot of Astoria Hotel. And it doesn't look like that because back in the days, these were houses lived in by families, and then one man came and he wanted to build a hotel. But because of UNESCO, he couldn't change the outside. So that's why it looks like 6 different buildings from the outside, but it's actually one very big open place from the inside. So we have a lot of celebrities staying here when they come. A few weeks ago we had Taylor Swift over here. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, you're too late. It was a night. You can get that white building over there. And if you have not taken any pictures yet, this is your moment to take your cameras ready. Because after this bridge on the left side, you'll see one of our... Okay, you see the bikes over there on the other side. Like crazy over there. So last year, these guys had a record. They had over 15,000 bikes fished out of the waters. Yeah, you may think, where do all these bikes come from? Well, let me tell you. I like to blame wind. I like to blame storms. But I've also heard stories about a red truck. Can you see it? It has 2 colors. So this is the house of our mayor. And she is our first female mayor of Amsterdam. So if you all just want to wave to my mom. No, I wish. No, she's our first female mayor of Amsterdam, and let me tell you, this was actually not always the house of the mayor. This was the house of a man, and he was an architect, and he built this very big building over here. And back in the days, you have certain rules about how high and how big a building could be. So for example, you could not allowed, you have to take your building down because, yeah, it's very high, it's very big. And the guy was very smart. He said, you know what, if you get my house on the most prestigious canal of Amsterdam, can I keep my building? And the mayor was like, well, that's a good idea. So that's how the mayor got his house. And the guy over here, Mr. Basil, got his building over here. This is our city archive. So if you want to learn some more facts about Amsterdam, then it's definitely a go-to place. It is all in Dutch though, so good luck with that. And the mayor's house, it works the same way as the White House. So every time we have a new mayor, he or she will get the... I heard there's a man living here, and I heard he's very, very rich, very, very old, and very, very single. Opa. So if you want to take one for the team, you can definitely come to door. So all these houses over here are very expensive. They can go up to 15 million euros. So you'll get a very big house, a lot of toilets, a lot of, yeah, sometimes swimming pools, a garden, very beautiful cars.
So 15 million for the whole building, or just the whole building?
So there's only one embassy in this golden band that can afford to stay here on this very rich. We paid for it. I heard they have a very nice transport system with a product starting with a C. Coffee beans. You know, I know you're thinking about that, right? So this is the golden band. Perfect.
Go boss.
Okay guys, so I told you that there's a lot of bikes falling into the canal, but we also have cars over here. So have you seen these rails in front of the cars? You little ones. We built these rails, and that's a lot cheaper than fishing all the cars out. And we had this problem with one very particular car. When it first came out, it always fell into the canal. Do you know which car?
Small one?
No, not the small one. Starting with a T?
Tesla?
Tesla, exactly. So, do you know why it's Tesla? Let me tell you. So Tesla is an American company. And as I told you before, all these canals over here are hand dug by people. And in America, they do not have hand digging canals like these. So if you had a Tesla and you put it in automatic park, it wouldn't know where to go to, it wouldn't know where the end of the road is, and it would fall straight into the canal. So there it goes. Thankfully, we do not have this problem anymore. We have other things that fall into the canals, like people. So who do you think fall more into the canals, men or women? Men. Of course. Of course. So there's a few things that these men have in common. First, they're all men. Of course. Beautiful toilet they've ever seen, and then they fall straight into it. So for the ladies on board, if you want to get rid of your husband, okay, I just give you a very nice tip. Oh, thank you. Did you enjoy it? Is it good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it that one?
Yeah, it is that one. So that is the second narrowest house. And yes, there used to be a family living inside. This was a guy, he had a business as a shoemaker. However, he wanted to live in between the wealthiest merchants in the world in the 1600s. So he built his house in between two other ones. And that way he still had the address, but he avoided paying the tax because he did not have a white house. It was a cheap house as well. So nowadays actually it's a storage space. It's not a house anymore, but it used to be a house.
As a canal, and Mr. Bartolomei, he was a man and he did not have any kids. So he told his worker, I don't have any kids, so if you want you can have my house and everything I own, but you have to take my last name. So there's a few fake Bartolomeis walking around here. Perfect, thank you. Hi guys. How's your place? She paid.
He pays the credit card. I just swipe it.
Oh,
He
okay,
pays. So he cannot run.
Perfect, never mind. You can go.
Yes.
With this credit card.
Yes.